Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new edition of Africa Today, where we get you the latest news and events taking place on the African scene. And we will start off with our major top stories and reports. Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi was in Cairo on Tuesday, days before the Democratic Republic of Congo assumes the presidency of the African Union. The talks in Cairo touched on regional issues and issues of mutual concern. More in the following report.
DR Congo's President Felix Tshisekedi discussed the latest developments concerning the decade-long standoff caused by the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam in Cairo. During the talks, Tshisekedi and Sisi also discussed issues of mutual concern. The meeting came days before the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, assumes the presidency of the African Union, the current mediator of the on-off GERD negotiations succeeding South Africa. According to a statement released by Cairo, both sides agreed to reinforce the joint coordination and cooperation to follow up on the developments of the long-running dispute. Sisi said it is important to reach a legally binding agreement over the rules of filling and operating the Ethiopian dam. The AU has been mediating the talks between Cairo and Khartoum and Addis Ababa over the dispute caused by the GERD since last year. Negotiations mediated by South Africa, the incumbent president of the AU, over the GERD have been put on hold due to Khartoum's desire to grant a bigger role to the experts involved in the AU-mediated talks instead of holding direct discussions among the three nations. Addis Ababa, in addition to Cairo, refused Khartoum's demand. During the meeting, Tshisekedi voiced out keenness in benefiting from Cairo's efforts, expertise and vision in leading the AU amid what he described as the flaring and successive challenges facing Africa in general and the Nile Basin and in particular the Horn of Africa. The AU presidency is to be transferred from the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa to President Tshisekedi during the upcoming African summit slated for the 6th and 7th of February in Ethiopia.
Welcome back, and still with our special reports. The African Union has secured an additional 400 million doses of coronavirus vaccines for the continent. The continent is lagging behind other parts of the world, which have kick-started the inoculation campaigns. More in the following report.
Africa needs about 1.5 billion doses to immunize 60% of inhabitants, the threshold for herd immunity. Most nations have not started vaccinating, lacking funds to do so. Initiatives to help them have struggled to put in orders, as wealthier countries are accused of bulk buying vaccines. Together with the doses the AU has already reserved and those to be made available via the World Health Organization-backed COVAX scheme, the Union has secured 400 million doses, bringing the total for Africa to 1.27 billion. Earlier this week, South Africa's leading coronavirus expert Salim Abdul Karim said bulk buying of vaccines by wealthy nations was unconscionable, warning no one is safe until everyone is safe. The rollout of mass vaccination programs across Africa may now begin in March, though not all supplies will be available by then. Head of the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Africa CDC, said the bulk will arrive later this year and next year. The latest announcement of 400 million doses are of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine from the Serum Institute of India, and no details were given about costs. Some African countries are also doing direct deals with vaccine manufacturers or have received separate donations.
Welcome back, dear viewers, and now we're joined over the phone by Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former assistant to the Foreign Minister. Good afternoon, Mr. Ambassador.
Good afternoon. How are you?
How are you, sir? Ambassador Bayoumi, DR Congo President Felix Tshisekedi's visit to Cairo precedes the country's assumption of the AU presidency. How do you see the timing of this visit to Cairo?
Very important because of the change of the chairmanship of Africa, because Congo and Egypt has bilateral relations. Congo received its independence with the help of the Egyptian army. Once we send, before you have been born, we send our army to Congo to protect it against the colonialism. Lumumba is a very well-known name in Egypt. He was killed in his own country in a sort of assassination. So we have a history with them. Our army was there to protect them. So now, thank God that Congo is again an independent country. More than that, it will lead the continent in the coming year. So it's quite normal to exchange views, to give our experience to Congo and to the other African countries. Things that I am happy to watch it, especially that now we restore what we call the presidential diplomacy. Our president now is everywhere in Africa, is everywhere all over the world, and he can give his time now for this priority of the African relations, which is a big and large priority of our foreign policies.
Right. Well, Ambassador Bayoumi, discussions between President Sisi and President Tshisekedi focused on the latest developments concerning the decade-long standoff caused by the Grand Renaissance Dam issue in Cairo. Now, how do you weigh the importance of discussing the issue with the coming AU chair?
As a matter of fact, as you can realize, that Egypt is maintaining what we call a very soft diplomacy. We do not make a big noise about it. Why? Because we are quite sure that we have a very good case and legal case concerning the Blue River Nile water. And we are trying to solve the problem directly between us and Ethiopia. We didn't succeed up till now. So it's not bad that the Africa presidency can intervene, can convince Ethiopia that all of us, we can share benefits, that the water is quite enough for all of us, that the dam, we give them the right to establish the dam to generate electricity. Even we ask them that we can buy the electricity, because Egypt is becoming exporter to electricity to Europe.
Yes.
So we are making a sort of connection between all the electric net in the Arab world and Africa.
Right.
So what I see positively, that we have all the reasons to be quiet, to deal with the matter. It seems that there is in the background a sort of political problem between Ethiopia and Egypt. And we are trying to give them all the right to feel safe, to feel that we are not in a sort of challenge between Egypt and Ethiopia. So very good that Congo is coming, maybe to give a word here and a word there, and we come to a solution which will fit the three countries, I mean Egypt, Sudan, and Ethiopia.
Well, sir, President Sisi said it's important to reach a legally binding agreement over the rules of filling the dam and operating the Ethiopian dam. How can this be reached, sir, in your opinion?
By convincing, because as a matter of fact, we are not against the dam itself. We are against to fill it in a quick period of time. Right. This will affect our quota of the River Nile. Also, we are advising them to revise the technical code of the building of the dam, because we suspect that maybe after they decided to double the capacity of the dam, that the earth will not be able to resist all this weight of water. And inshallah, this wouldn't happen. But if it happens that the dam deteriorated, then Sudan will suffer, Egypt will suffer of this.
Yes.
It seems that this is a new diplomacy, which I call it the no diplomacy. Before we say any question, they say no. Let us wait and see, and maybe some good friends like Congo can intervene and can give a good word here and there until we reach a positive solution for all the countries.
Right. Sir, also during the meeting, President Tshisekedi voiced out keenness on benefiting from Cairo's efforts, expertise, and vision in leading the African Union. What signified Cairo's chairmanship of the African Union during the year of 2019?
Of course, we have a long history in Africa. Some countries in Africa can tell you, even in their touristic brochures, that they are proud that they have pharaonic origin, Egyptian origin. If you go to Cameroon or you go to Botswana or you go to many places, they think that they have Egyptian origin. During Muhammad Ali Pasha, we went to explore the River Nile from the beginning. During Gamal Abdel Nasser, we helped every single African country for its independence. So we are, a couple of years ago, we were the chairman of the continent, and we have this position more than any other country. If you ask any African who is the best football in Africa, they will tell you Bibo, immediately, the national team. Anyway, so we have traditional relations, and we are the most acceptable face in Africa. We have the largest diplomatic representation in Africa, so we can use all of this. Now we have experts everywhere in Africa. The Egyptian Fund for Development and Partnership in Africa is doing quite a good job. And let me use my talk to you to ask to double, to triple the capital of this fund in order to make Egypt able more and more to help our brothers in Africa.
Right. Well, sir, the upcoming president of the African Union said there are flaring and successive challenges facing the African continent. What do you think are the most important challenges facing the African continent and African states currently?
The problem is the division between different tribes in every country. And we are asking them, in order to restore this independence and their good economy, they have to unify themselves within every single country. And we are trying to do that with the initiative of President Sisi, when he asked everybody to put down the armament, not to fight, but to start a dialogue. This is the most important threat to the African cause. Also, we are agreed upon combating the organized crime, whether it is illegal migration, money laundering, bureaucracy, and terrorism. Of course, all these crimes we are fighting with the help of the international community and the regional one like EU or the AU also.
Right. Well, I would like to thank you very much for joining us, Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former assistant to the Foreign Minister. Many thanks for your insights, sir. Well, dear viewers, now we continue with our special reports. The executive director of the Egyptian Space Agency said an Egyptian satellite dubbed next to the launched in December, while an African space agency is to be established in the Egyptian space city. More in this report.
The executive director of the Egyptian Space Agency said a series of Egyptian satellites dubbed NEXT will be launched starting from December. Mohammed Al-Qusi said that the first satellite would weigh 65 kilograms for remote sensing and scientific research in cooperation with Germany. He said that in parallel with NEXT, a group of nanosatellites will be launched in March 2022 to monitor climate changes, especially the levels of carbon dioxide and gases in the atmosphere. In September 2022, EgyptSat-2, weighing 330 kilograms, will be launched to be used in sensor application with a photographic accuracy of 2 meters, as he said. He also said EgyptSat-2 has been designed in cooperation with China per an agreement that includes a grant worth $45 million. El-Qusi said a satellite assembly and testing center will be inaugurated in September 2022 in the International Space City to be the first center of its kind in the Arab world. He said Egypt will host the African Space Agency after the African Union's approval. There is a plan in cooperation with Kenya, Uganda, Ghana, Sudan, and Nigeria to launch a joint satellite dubbed the African Development Satellite. The headquarters of the African Space Agency is now being established in the International Space City at a $10 million budget.
Well, dear viewers, that wraps up this edition of Africa Today. Many thanks for watching and stay tuned for more coming up here on Nile TV International. This is Naveen Ramzi signing off.